Hey guys, hope you're good. So I've got a short video on the difference between dialect, accent, and register. I will give you the differences that exist between these three terms or words. What is a dialect? What is an accent? And what is a register in English? I will start with the first one, which is dialect. A dialect is a variety of a certain language, or in general, dialects in plural are varieties of the same language. For example, we have got English, which is one language, but it has got different varieties of English, different dialects. And dialect is commonly linked to geographical differences, geographical areas of a certain language. For example, English is spoken in Britain, it is called British English. The same English is spoken in America, American English. In Australia, Australian English. In Zambia, Zambian English. Nigeria, Nigerian English. In South Africa, South African English. You see, the same English, but spoken in different places, different geographical areas, and we call it dialect. Now, what is the difference between dialects of Englishes? Englishes have got different dialects and they've got different commonalities between them. What are some differences between dialects? For example, we can find differences at the level of grammar and vocabulary, especially grammar and vocabulary. This is the main difference between dialects of English. American English is different from British English, mainly on vocabulary and grammar, spelling, orthograph, and so on. For example, color in British English is written with C-O-L-O-U-R, but in American English C-O-L-O-R. There is a difference of writing. And there is, in American English you can say, I just saw John, but in British English you cannot say, I just saw John. It is wrong. You have to say, I've just seen John. You see, differences in grammar and vocabulary, in orthograph, the way words are spelled, written. There is a difference between dialects. Indian English is different from British, American, and all the other kinds of Englishes. So this is the first one. Dialect is linked to geographical areas, differences between languages at the level of the geography, the way regions in which people are living. This is the first difference. Now we take the second word, which is accent. What is an accent? An accent, it is the way of speaking of a certain group of people. For example, we have an English accent in America, we have an American accent, a Zambian accent, South African accent, Indian accent, and so on. Accent is not linked to grammar or to vocabulary. No. Accent is linked to pronunciation, the way we utter words from our mouth. Maybe the spelling, not the spelling, but the way we pronounce letters, words, and even sentences. When you pronounce a letter, alphabet, this is an accent. How do you pronounce it? How do you pronounce sounds? We call them phonemes in pronunciation, phonetics and phonology. We call them pronunciation of letters or of sounds. We call them phonemes. How do you pronounce words? We call stress. And how do you pronounce sentences, which we call intonation? And we have linking word into a sentence, we call it connected principles or connected speech. What is the difference between them? There is a big difference the way American people pronounce words in English and how British people pronounce words in English. Yet the same language, but different dialects and different accent. For example, American English is called rhotic language. What is rhotic? It means all the sounds are pronounced. For instance, car in British, but in American, car. You see, far, bar. You see, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. You see, British English, I'm here for you, but American English, I'm here for you. You see, that is what we call accent. It is different from British, to American English. From Zambian, accent is also different. For example, a Zambian will say, an American will say Moses, but a Zambian will say Mosesi. You see, they add the E at the end of the word simply because of the influence of their mother tongue, and it creates a different accent of the same language. So what you have to keep in mind is that accent is regional. Even individual of the same community can speak a different accent. I speak a different accent, especially Congolese, they speak different accents, but learning at the same center, same language, same teacher, but they develop different English accents. So what you have to keep is accent is individual or regional, but dialect is geographically differentiated. That is the difference between a dialect and an accent. Now the last word, what is a register? What is register? Register means English in a professional context or professional domain. We call it English for specific purposes. It means English spoken in a different setting, in a context, a certain context in terms of formality and vocabulary. Mainly, I repeat once more again, dialect is different, or dialects are different in terms of grammar, vocabulary, and sometimes pronunciation. But accent does nothing to do with grammar or vocabulary. It is only different in pronunciation, phonetics, and phonology. And register has nothing to do with grammar or pronunciation. Register has something to do only with vocabulary. How words are used. Even in French, even in English, registers are different. Words used in hospitals, words used by mechanics, words used by electricians, words used by teachers, words used in airplanes or in science, in technology, artificial intelligence, in marketing, business, entrepreneurship. Each domain has got its specific words, terms that they use. Reason why translators must be very efficient and effective, or even interpreters in the domains. They can speak English, but translating is an art. You must be good at different domains, different vocabulary, different terms, and different registers. So to conclude what I've said, dialect is linked to geographical differences of the same language. American English, British English, Zambian English, South African English, and so on. Accent is linked to a group of people or to individuals. The way I speak is not the way you speak. The way we utter a word is different. This is what we call accent. I've got my accent and you have got your accent. You have got your accent that you should develop to make it a better accent and understandable. And finally, register is linked to a domain, vocabulary, set of words used in a certain domain. So this is the difference between dialect, accent, and register. So this has been Moses from the Moses Services. Thank you for listening and see you then. Ciao.